بسم آب وولد ومنفس قدوس أحد واملك آمين. بسم آب وولد ومنفس قدوس أحد واملك آمين. بسم آب وولد ومنفس قدوس أحد واملك آمين. Give thanks. Good morning. Hope you had a blessed weekend. And straight into the reading of Genesis 44. Give thanks. And Joseph commands him who was over his house, saying, fill the bags of the men with food, as they are able to carry, and put the money of each in the mouth of his bag, and my cup, the silver cup, you put it in the mouth of the bag of the young one, and his grain money. And the servant does according to the word of Joseph, which he has spoken. The morning is bright, and the men have been sent away, they and their donkeys. They have gone out to the city, they have not gone far off. And Joseph has said to him who is over his house, rise and pursue after the men. You have overtaken them, and you have said to them, why have you repaid evil for good? Is this not that which my Lord drinks? And he observes diligently with it, you have done evil in that which you have done. And he overtakes them and speaks to them these words. And they say to him, why does my Lord speak according to these words? Far be it from our servants to do according to this word. Behold, the money which we found in the mouth of our bags we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. How do we steal from the house of your Lord silver or gold? With whomsoever of your servants it is found, he has died. And we are also to my Lord's for servants. And he says, now also according to your words, so it is. He with whom it is found becomes my servant, and you are acquitted. And they hurry and take down each of his bags to the earth, and each opens his bag, and he searches. At the eldest he has begun, and at the youngest he has completed, and the cup is found in the bag of Benjamin. And they tear their garments, and each loads of his donkeys, and they return to the city. And Judah and his brothers came to the house of Joseph, and he is yet there, and they fall to the earth before him. And Joseph says to them, what is this deed that you have done? Have you not known that a man like me diligently observes? And Judah says, what do we say to my Lord? What do we speak? How do we justify ourselves? God has found out the iniquity of your servants. Behold, we are servants to my Lord, both we and he in whose hand the cup has been found. And he says, far be it from me to do this. The man in whose hand the cup has been found, he becomes my servant, and you go up in peace to your father. And Judah comes near to him and says, O my Lord, please let your servant speak a word in the ears of my Lord, and do not let your anger burn against your servant, for you are as Pharaoh. My Lord has asked his servant, saying, do you have a father or brother? And we say to my Lord, we have a father, an aged one, and a child of old age, a little one, and his brother died, and he is left alone of his mother, and his father has loved him. And you say to your servants, bring him down to me, and I set my eye on him. And we say to my Lord, the youth is not able to leave his father. When he has left his father, then he has died. And you say to your servants, if your young brother does not come down with you, you do not add to see my face. And it comes to pass that we have come up to your servant, my father, that we declare to him the words of my Lord. And our father says, return, buy us a little food. And we say, we are not able to go down. If our young brother is with us, then we have gone down. We are not able to see the man's face, or our young brother is not with us. And your servant, my father, says to us, you have not known that my wife bore two to me, and one goes out from me. And I say, surely he is torn, and I have not seen him since. When you have taken also this from my presence, and harm has been met, then you have brought down my grey hairs with evil shoal. And now at my coming to your servant my father, and the youth not with us, and his soul is bound up in his soul, then it is come to pass, when he sees that the youth is not, then he has died. And your servant has brought down the grey hairs of your servant on our father with sorrow to Sheol. And your servant obtained the youth by guarantee to my father, saying, if we do not bring him to you, then I have sinned against my father all days. And now please let your servant abide instead of the youth, as a servant to my lord. And the youth goes up with his brothers. And how do I go up to my father, and the youth not with me, lest I look on the evil which finds my father? For these few words I give thanks. Blessed love. So it gets more intense, this chapter. So just to recap what's happening, I don't think the language is particularly kind of clear, but it's interesting reading this and deciphering it at the same time. So in the last chapter, we saw Joseph testing the brothers, and he was basically spoiling Benjamin to see whether they treated Benjamin any differently. And now he's done another test, and the stakes are higher. So they're leaving his compound, they're leaving Joseph's compound. And what Joseph does, he says to his servant, plant my silver cup in the bag of Benjamin, in the bag of the young one, and also give them their money back, put that in the mouths of their pouches. And he sends them on their way with their grain, but they don't know, obviously, that these things have been planted on them. And then Joseph sends his servant to then apprehend them on their journey. And then the servant then accuses the brothers of stealing the silver cup and stealing the money. And they say, we've got nothing to hide. And he says, why have you repaid, good with evil? And so they search the bags, and then they find the silver cup in Benjamin's bag. And then that's when the brothers are like, we don't know what's happened. And they agree then to go back to Joseph to face justice. And the interesting thing is that it's Judah who speaks up and really defends. I mean, all of them, but Judah's the one written in. And because, remember, Judah was the guarantor for Benjamin, because Israel didn't want to send Benjamin with the brothers to get more grain. So Judah stepped up and said, I am the guarantor. If anything bad happens to him, then you can do bad to me. So Judah at this point steps up and says, I cannot, I would rather go into servitude and become your slave, Joseph, rather than, well, he didn't call him Joseph, but I'd rather become your slave rather than any harm be done to to Benjamin. And then he says, my father is of an old age. If anything bad happens to Benjamin, then he will die. So I'm his guarantor, and I would rather harm done to me. And I think the interesting thing with Judah stepping up, if you remember from a previous chapter, it was Judah who rose up against Joseph and basically sold Joseph into slavery. So Judah at this point's really showing how he's changed, because he could have easily said, you found the cup with Benjamin, he's your slave, because this is what Joseph said to them, whoever I find the cup with, they become my servant, and the rest of you are acquitted. But the brothers are standing up for Benjamin, and they're not allowing him to just take the full rap. They are putting themselves before him, in the sense of, they want to protect him, and they would rather get justice served on them instead. So yeah, Judah really steps up for Benjamin and defends and shows Joseph that he's changed. At this point, obviously, they still don't know who Joseph is. But again, in this chapter, we've seen a lot of family loyalty. We're seeing them really protecting the brother when they could have just thrown him under the bus. They're really protecting him. And they're also showing love for their father. But they're also mentioning Joseph, because they said, he had another son who had died, and now he had another son at an old age. So that first son who died, they're talking about Joseph, not realizing that's the one that's standing in front of them. So it kind of ends with a kind of a bit of a cliffhanger, and then we're going to see how this resolves in the next chapter. But as I said yesterday, kind of epic storytelling was how someone described it. But and it really is. These are kind of big, thorny, complicated relationships in this family. But again, Joseph giving them ample opportunity to show how they've changed, and then opening up for him, hopefully having a peaceful resolution after this. So it'd be interesting to read the next chapter to see how this resolves. So I'll end it there. So give thanks, blessed love, have a blessed day, and God willing, back again tomorrow for chapter 45. Oneness.